Welcome, Collective, to another great episode of Brews and Builds. And this episode could not have been done except by our amazing patrons. Whether you're part of the Collective, Squeeze Choir, BigTucks, Mr. Combo, Storm Count, it doesn't matter. We love you guys and thank you for the support. If you guys would like to support the CMD Tower team, head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/CMD Tower. We have a lot of different tiers on there. And of course, just to get in is $1 that gets you into the Collective. Definitely, guys, it's great to be a part of the Collective. Some of the rewards that you get for just the $1 tier, you get entered in with Plug. Unco AJ is going to be providing the voices today. One of the things you get submitted for, which is awesome. You get to provide the voices for Brews and Builds. Another one is when you're a part of our top tier. Every 3 months, we pick a random patron, which the group's not huge right now, so we might see a lot of Spencer Rabbits this year, or good old Lemony Lennings. But you guys will get to be on Brews and Builds and talk with Tuck and I about your decks and kind of where the grains, hops, yeast, and spice kind of work out. So lots of great benefits. And of course, our $5, $15, and $25, you actually get legitimate swag. Playmats, sleeves, stickers, RK Post patron tokens, whole lot of stuff.
All the good stuff, yeah. And they are awesome. Got to shout out real quick again, that foil playmat is sick.
Now, if you're a part of the Collective already, aka our patrons, and you have someone you want to invite to the Collective, because maybe it's some of the awesome benefits that you've been on the receiving end of, we do have a referral program. So any of you that join our Patreon, be sure to send the account a note just saying, hey, this patron referred me, and we're actually going to hook them up with some pretty cool swag. Just kind of depends on what tier you signed up for. Now, if you can't do a monthly subscription, but you want to get some of the swag, or even some of the swag that you can't even get as a patron, like the foil playmat, head over to our store, cmdtower.com/merch. Of course, that's where you can get our holiday sweaters, foil playmats, a bunch of the other accoutrements. Just a little update for any of the sweater folk. I appreciate everyone's patience with that. I do know where the boat is. It's in the LA harbor. I was able to see said picture of said container ship. We're just waiting for the dock to unload it. So really hoping to get to this to you guys ASAP. But like I said, anyone that had pre-ordered a holiday sweater before the new year, we are going to just include a little thank you because of the delay in your box. Because I know you guys want to wear this for the winter. You wanted to wear it for holiday parties. And, it's kind of bleeding into late winter, and it'll become harder and harder to wear. So we're going to take care of you guys. Don't worry. Definitely want to give you a little something to say thank you. Now, this audio was brought to you by Squee McGee.
Woo!
Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, one of the many short form videos that we're now doing, you got to give a big shout out to @_tcoats. Tyler is our video editor, and he was one that kind of came up with this great idea of why don't we separate out the long form videos, because some of you guys might only be degenerates like me and care about the yeast package, which if you don't know what that is, we'll get to that later. But, enjoy these short consumption videos. That was a piece of feedback that we had received from the community. We want to continue to do it. We've heard MTG Action 4 News is something you guys want to see on YouTube. Definitely going to talk and try to figure out how we could make that happen. But we want to be here to give you guys the content you want. You just need to let us know. So if we can improve our YouTube content, let Tyler know. He is the captain of that ship. Of course, just share the content you guys are watching and listening to. That's the free way to help, and that's the way that you guys can make an impact every single day. So Brews and Builds is our deck tech series. Since we conquered the path to 32 and the 12 themes of EDH decks, we have moved on to a classic brew from day one Brews and Builds with a traditional episode. We describe the brewing of decks similar to how beer is brewed. So we broke it down into 4 categories. To cap off the episode, we have redundancy, a bottle capping. These are going to be BigTucks and I's cuts and adds to the deck that are going to be under $5, under $50, and a no budget recommendation. The only restriction we put on ourselves, you can't talk about those mana only lands, which I'm sure this deck would love to talk about. So for today's episode, BigTuck decided he wanted to bring some 5-color magic with Ramos the Charming Dragon. Tuck, why don't you read who Ramos is and does?
So Ramos Dragon Engine is a 6 colorless legendary artifact creature, dragon, that's a mythic. That's a 4/4 flyer, and it says it's 1 cent on Card Kingdom, so go scoop those up. It has the stated ability of whenever you cast a spell, put a 1/1 counter on Ramos Dragon Engine for each of that spell's colors. Then you can remove 5 +1/+1 counters from Ramos, add double Wooburg. So 2 white, 2 blue, 2 black, 2 red, 2 green. Activate this ability only once each turn, not only at sorcery speed. So
to come to a conclusion of the episode, we're going to be doing the bottle capping. And as a reminder, collective, this is going to be Big Tucks and Ice cuts from the deck. And we're going to add 3 cards, one for under $5, one for under $50, and one that doesn't have a budget. We just can't talk about mana-only lands. All right, Big Tuck, kick us off for an under $5. Okay. What do you think you're going to cut, and what do you think you're going to add? Because there was one that I'm doing for my under 5. I was shocked you did not already have in the deck. Genuinely
really?
Shocked.
It might be my second pick, because there's one in here I was like, wait a minute. That can't be right. No way. Are you kidding? Okay, anyways, we'll get, yeah. So as I mentioned, I'm going to cut Steam Augury.
Yep.
I love the card. I think it's good. I might actually keep it in here, to be honest, because I like everything about it. But there's a card from Redacted Set that we talk about every single time that now is fallen out of standard and is now very budget, called Escape to the Wilds.
Oh.
So 3 colorless, a green and a red for sorcery. Exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may play cards exiled this way until the end of your next turn, and you may play an additional land this turn. So what I like about this card a little bit more than Steam Augury, granted, I like that Steam Augury's instant speed, and that's the biggest complaint I have against Escape to the Wilds, but it's likely I'm going to hit cards that I'm going to be able to play consistently the turn after, right? Like hit a land and a few commands or some charms. If I play this late game, I have mana open on Ramos that I can trigger to play those. And the fact that it plays an additional land this turn, I think is just really, really strong, right? It seems like it's got a lot of value into it. Good way to get through the top of my deck. Just seems like a really strong card for this sport. Spell Slinger, getting the land out. Has a lot of value in my opinion for 62 cents or whatever it is.
So I'll actually be honest, even if it didn't have the additional land this turn, I think you got enough in here to where you still make it work. Where I actually still love this card for the deck, mainly because of Ramos's condition. You can only activate this once per turn. So you could get it to where you have more than 5 +1/+1 counters on them. And it's like, well, let me remove those. I'm going to cast a bunch of spells so you get some more stuff. Cast Escape to the Wilds. Exile these cards while I'm all out of mana. Hey, go to your turn. Okay, I'm going to remove 10 counters. I'm going to start casting the stuff.
Right, exactly.
So I really, really like that because it does give you a lot of flexibility, and the majority of your deck are instants, so I don't think any of the conditions of the cards are going to impact you to where you can't do it on the other people's turns.
Right, for sure. And you get a free land. Yeah. Right? So.
All right.
What are you going to cut?
I'm going to cut the Sprite Dragon. So
that is totally fine.
But it's basically the same thing as your Whirlwind of Thought. Now on creature spells, it gets bigger. All right.
Yeah, exactly. It's a backup commander.
Oh, God damn it. This is it blue-red creature fairy dragon, uncommon. It's a 1/1. It has flying haste. Whenever you cast it on creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Sprite Dragon. AKA, this is draft fodder. I don't know.
I had some stupid when I first put this deck together. I think I honestly just needed a 2-color card to put in. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you.
So this is a 5-color legend. Shocked isn't in the deck. Why the hell for $1.90? Why don't you have Niv Mizzet Reborn in the deck?
Oh my God!
So this is Wooburg, guys. One of each color. Legendary creature, dragon avatar, mythic. It's a 6/6 with flying. When it ETBs, reveal the top 10 of your library. And I've already done the counting for you, Tuck, and I'll get to that in a second. For each color pair, choose a card that's exactly those colors from among them. Put the chosen cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Tuck, just take a gander. How many 2-colored cards do you have in the deck?
2-colored cards?
Yep.
22?
32.
No way!
So
this never even crossed my mind.
Yeah, so I looked at this because I was actually going to and I redid my order a little bit because I actually did cut a card draw spell for this one, but we'll get to it a little bit later. Sure, It's just we already talked about Sprite Dragon, so but yes. And you'll know like what card draw spell I'm talking about. It's literally a 5 for 5. But if we just want to put it in a container with Urban and Sprite, or Sprite Dragon and Niv Mizzet is 3 more mana, but it's getting you 3 more counters on Ramos. Probably going to draw you 4 to 5 cards. Like, let's just be honest. And you have a 6/6 flyer that's gonna
and I can easily proc Ramos to cast every single card that is true.
Yep, pretty much.
I don't know. I really don't know why this wasn't in here. To be honest with you, it never even crossed my mind. I'll be getting this shortly, for sure.
All right, let's go to the under $50. Let's see if Tuck can redeem himself, because I found another card. How the hell was it in the deck? What are you cutting and what are you adding?
This was my screw up big time. I'm going to cut Dune Blast.
Okay.
It's fine. 4 colorless, and then Abzan, so that's white, black, green. Sorcery, choose up to 1 creature, destroy the rest. It's fine. It just costs a lot of mana for a board wipe, right?
I get that. The only thing I'll argue, Tuck, for Dune Blast, because I actually considered it, this is one of your few board wipes that you can keep Ramos and all of his counters.
Yeah, for sure.
So I really like that, because even if you did remove 5 counters from Ramos, get your Wooburg, use 7 of it, he gets 3 back, and you still have 3 mana left over. I don't know.
I always think this card's good, and it just never really works out for me. So I think there's better ones out there, and it's this one, which I am so shocked that I don't have in this deck, because I love this card. I've been on Cat saying I should put it in every card. I should put it in every deck that can run it. And this card even gets even wilder with Ramos. Villainous Wealth? Hello?
Yeah.
What? Like, that's so stupid. X, black, green, blue, sorcery. Target opponent exiles the top X cards of their library. You may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less among them without paying their mana costs. Like, okay, -5 off of Ramos. Tap everything. Villainous Wealth. Cast all your cards. Put all the same counters on Ramos. Next turn, remove 5. Play all the cards in my hand. Like, I could have sworn it was in the deck, and it was just I went back and forth between Moxfield and everything. It's completely bonkers. Even in a pinch, doing it for 2 just to get the 5 counters onto Ramos. It's not ideal. Okay. But there's always like those weird edge cases. I think we agreed that X should be 7 at least.
Well, okay. So I will. You said you do X's for 2 to do what for Ramos counters? Because you wouldn't get 5 counters. You'd only get 3.
You get 3. You just get 3 on him. But if he has 2 on them in a pinch, then you can do Urborg into something else.
I see.
That's like worst case scenario, right? But I mean, we did have all this.
We did agree. I think X equals 7 is where we said you need to be, because you're going to hit 90% of the cards. You're only going to miss on your ultra top end and your X spells.
Yes, exactly. So I have no idea why this didn't come up. I probably just didn't have one lying around. But yeah, you better believe that this and Niv Mizzet are 100% going in.
Oh,
cut 1, cut 2.
Well, and I think, Tuck, that might be where the next time we revisit this deck, your yeast package is converted into almost an X spell section.
Yeah.
Or big creature type section, because I think that's where you could still have fun and be yourself.
Yeah.
But then Ramos, it still charms, but now let's cut out some of this kind of very, very, very cute stuff for hey, it might be a little boring, but at least I know if I'm slugging out a game, I got a Villainous Wealth I can go do something with.
I have one tail end one that I'll get into. This is kind of like an also rand. But yeah, so I agree with you completely on that.
All right. Well, my next one is I'm actually cutting a board wipe as well. The reason I'm cutting this board wipe, though, is it's good, but Ramos literally checks the box on 2 of the 4 modes, and that's why I don't like it. Merciless Eviction. 4 colorless, Orzhov, white and black, sorcery rare, about 250. You get to choose 1. Exile all enchantments, exile all planeswalkers, and those are great. But these other 2 directly impact Ramos because he's an artifact and a creature. Exile all artifacts, instants, exile all creatures, instants. I think Merciless Eviction gets a lot of play, Tuck, because it's like, well, my commander at least, I could do the other modes and I get to keep that. Or, well, at least I get to keep my good artifacts and I'll just get rid of the bad creatures. It's just like, this is literally hitting Ramos on everything under the sun.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Like I kind of forgot I had this in here, to be honest, as well. So I've got plenty of other options to cut for it.
All right. Well, Tuck, Like I said, you need game winners in this deck. Also, I like a little bit of monster mashing myself. How do you not have the double Wooburg Legend in here? You remove 5 counters from Ramos, you get to cast Progenitus for free.
Oh, Progenitus!
For free! Double white, double blue, double black, double red, double green, double mint gum. Legendary creature, Hydra Avatar. It's a mythic. It's a 10/10 for $7. Protection from everything. And if Progenitus would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal Progenitus and shuffle it into its owner's library instead. Tuck, you literally remove 5 counters, cast Progenitus for free, get 5 counters back on Ramos, and you're done.
I traded this one to single Aaron back when he was building like 7 different Progenitus decks. So I'm sure he still has it, or maybe he sold it. So I'm gonna reach back out to him. But yeah, it's a fun one. I think this also fits the bill of like cards that are super fun that never find a home for. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's always just like on the edge. It's always one of those cards that's like always gonna get cut, right? Mm-hmm. And I think in here it's actually really, really strong. Yeah,
well, because also, would you rather have Progenitus, where in theory, potentially, you could recast it multiple times a game for essentially free and always get Ramos's counters back, or a one-time board wipe that potentially will also take out your commander?
Yeah, we'll kill your own person. Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen Progenitus played ever. So really? I would love to see an actual Progenitus slap down.
That would be pretty sweet. Yeah. So I'm here for it. I like that a lot. I'm gonna reach out to Aaron after this very podcast.
Well, let's get to the no budget section. The sky's the limit, Tuck. What piece of Magic history are you putting in?
None. Another budget one. These are all budget ones for me. I'm actually gonna cut Wandering Archaic.
What? I love that card.
It's just like, I know, I do too. Don't get me wrong. I've been trying to find a deck for it since I bought it, right? But for those who don't know, I'm only going to read the front because I'm lazy. 5 colorless for a creature avatar. It's a 4/4. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I like Wandering Archaic a lot. The problem is I get no real benefit out of it with Ramos, right? Like, it's a generic good card, but I don't get any benefit from casting spells. I don't get any benefit from copying. I'm not playing a copy deck with him. So it kind of fills a slot of like good but not great, and good but not really true to the deck's theme, if that makes sense.
Well, and Tuck also has this in his E section. I would say this. If you have it in here as a game winner, I do agree, cut it, because this isn't going to win you the game. Yeah. But if you were, I would say, Tuck, keep this as your 101st card, and as you're shoring up your list, if there's a charm in the hop section that you're like, you know what, this just doesn't really fit, I think that's where Wandering Archaic can make a great hop card for this deck. Very, similar to where if you wanted to run, any of the, you have Norn's Annex in here. Think of Wandering Archaic like a Norn's Annex. This is purely here to protect me. Norn's Annex doesn't even really feed into Ramos. You only get 1 counter. So I think both of those are kind of the same, to where even if you said, well, I kind of want to get rid of Norn's Annex, I'm not really getting hit that much, or people are just paying the life and it's not a big deal, maybe Wandering Archaic is better. Hey, if you guys are casting stuff, you got to pay a 2 tax, or I get 1 also.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. So just not in the right spot.
That's fair.
Haven't played it. I just got to figure something else out. But actually, the one that is, and this is funny because we've talked about this before, and I think people lose sight of the fact that this doesn't have to be a general or a commander. But General Ferris Rodkirk is going to be pretty good in here, I think. Colorless Boros, that's a red and green for 3/1 hexproof from monocolored. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, create a 4/4 red and white golem artifact creature token.
Wow. That's pretty good.
I didn't, because you never think about him being like, oh yeah, you can run this in cards outside of him being Boros, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like this fits another slot of like Murmuring Mystic, Talrand, these sort of things that just generate a creature army just for you playing the game. My 2 people I play with here have General Ferris Roddick decks, and it actually becomes extremely hard to get rid of him because they're like, Swords of Plowshares can't do it. Murder can't do it.
Oh,
right?
that's
like,
true. My favorite card.
He's pretty exactly. Like, he's pretty resilient. And I think if we're talking about ways to win, if you're casting, it's kind of like a Spellslinger deck, right? Because it is. Like if you're casting spells, you might as well just be building up this army, piecemeal by piecemeal by piecemeal, just for playing the game. And for 39 cents for a 3-drop, I think it's going to get a lot of value out of the deck.
Actually, Tuck, I think you just sold me. Still, if you want to get rid of the one, I think this is better than Norn's Annex for the deck.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Like, I almost think what you should do for your Pillow Fort effect is just more of these, as I play the game, I just get tokens for playing. I think that's actually a better Pillow Fort than an actual Pillow Fort.
Because they actually can do something.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they actually are like, you can attack with them. If you, and I played, the guy who I play against this has a budget deck, and it's bonkers. It's so good. And he's always in the last 2, if not winning for it. Like, those 4/4 golems, like, that stacks up pretty quick, right?
Fair. All right. Well, my last one. Look, so this is originally the one that I kind of added Niv Mizzet for, but just because of the way we talked about it, I'm cutting Urban Evolution. I think Niv Mizzet's just better than Urban Evolution.
That's fine, yeah.
3 colorless Simic that's green and blue. It's an uncommon for 13-cent sorcery. Draw 3. You may play an additional land this turn. I think it's a okay card. It's not along my rate, but for Ramos, I could see it being good. But Niv Mizzet's just better for the same mana.
Yeah,
so
I completely agree.
All right, I got 2 options for you. So we got a itty bitty baby option, and then we got the big old daddy flex option.
Can I have both?
Yeah, you're getting both, and neither one is big daddy flex from a money. They're both pretty budget.
Okay.
But let's start with some fringe. Let's get a little weird. I think this Grixis card, Sidraxis Spectre, has a place in your deck if you're looking for low-end, trying to have 3 or CMC or less creatures to be able to play the early game. So Sidraxis is Grixis, so that's going to be blue, black, and red. Creature Spectre, uncommon. It's a 3/2 for 16 cents. It has flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. And it has Unearth. So for a colorless black, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, exile at the beginning of the next end step, or if it would leave the battlefield, Unearth only as a sorcery. So here's my argument for this card. Money-wise, it's cheap. CMC-wise, it's cheap. It's in a shard color, so Ramos is getting 3 counters. And it's not one-time use. So you do it, you get your 3. It's a 3/2 flyer, so you'll probably be able to get a couple hits in. It's not insignificant. But then even if it dies and you want to be able to do it again, Unearth, bring it back. Let's go. I want you to discard some cards. Or maybe you need it for a sacrifice thing. I don't know. So I think this card, the fact that it has your initial utility, it's a good disadvantage for your opponents, and you could reuse it later, gives it a home in this deck.
Dude, there's arguably 4 2-color Spectres that are all decent.
Is that going to become your sub theme?
Is that enough to put them in?
Yes. Yes. All right, but now I want to give you the daddy.
I do like it, yeah.
I'm going to give you the daddy flex option now. So this card's only 60 cents, but it's a lot more flavorful, and I think it's going to be more your vibe.
Okay.
Oros the Avenger. 3 colorless Mardu, white, black, and red. Legendary creature dragon rare. It's a 6/6, and it's a flyer. Whenever Oros the Avenger deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2 colorless white. If you do, Oros deals 3 damage to each non-white creature.
I don't get it.
So you get them in, and once again, we're getting 3 colors. That's a shard. That's 3 counters for Ramos. Sure. I look at this once again as a blend of yeast and hops. It's a 6/6 flyer, so it can beat face.
Sure.
And I think the 2 colorless white to do the 3 damage to each non-white creature. Ramos lives through that.
Yep.
And
General Ferris lives through that.
There you go. And I think what it's more going to do for you is help you against those go wide Drake, Thopter, Elves. Now, if you think white, like I guess you're going to get overrun by goats. But zombies are dead. Like, if you think about every major archetype that is a token go wide, this board wipes all of them.
This one's get it, yeah.
And it doesn't say 3 damage to each non-white creature that player controls. It's just a complete board wipe. Or 3 damage wipe. And we already talked about earlier how, well, doing 3 damage to everyone's creatures, that's pretty good. Now you
That's
can do it
pretty
on
good, yeah.
repeat. 50 cents.
I think it's just that's the thing, right? It's like the barrier to entry is so low. It's like, why not? And then I play it once and it sucks. I'm like, all right,
take it out.
to the Legends binder you go.
Well, and then maybe this becomes like some budget challenge creature that you do in the future.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I want to do Mardu dragons, but I don't want to do Kalia. Let me build an Oros the Avenger deck. Like, that could be kind of weird.
All right, I'm here for it. I like the better. I think the better of the two is this Bizarro Spectre Tribal that you're getting me, this lane that you're running me down. But again, like the overhead is so little, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like it's zero. It's like, not to say I'm Captain $1 million guy, but like it's effectively free.
Yeah.
Whenever I order a card, so why not, right?
Well, Tuck, think of it this way. What was that card? I let you use one of my. Was it a Jace the Mind Sculptor or a Liliana? I let you borrow some really absurdly expensive card because we talked about it in Brews and Builds, and I was like, "Hey, you should do this." You're like, "That's so." It was
Mind Sculptor in my Ninja stack.
Yeah,
which now still I opened my own pack and put it in, and it does fucking work.
So, but I think it's something like that to where essentially this card, like borrowing that Jace, is essentially free. You got to play it in the deck a few times, and then it's like, this is an absolute banger. Thanks, Mr. Combo. Here's your card back. Well, in Oros' case, it'd be like, wow, this is great. I leave it in. It was 50 cents. Or, man, it didn't work. I wasted 50 cents, which I don't even know what you could buy for 50 cents nowadays.
Exactly. Like, yeah, you can find it in your couch cushions. You know what I mean? That's what my dad said. So I was like, okay, cool. All right, cool, Captain Big Guy. Captain Lots of Bucks.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap up the bottle capping.